post credit. So, what we get here after the events of the defeat of Galactus in the third act, Stinger goes 4 years later, Franklin 4 years old. You got The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. Sue says, we're not reading that anymore. We need to feed this kid some Dr. Seuss. Goes to get the book, comes around the corner. You get the ominous music. You have Sue on high alert. And then you have the green robe that is around the corner facing Franklin. Left hand, you have the Doctor Doom mask. And we have no visual on the face of RDJ. Jax, I can't tell you how bittersweet this moment was. Yes, we got Doctor Doom. Yes, it was confirmed. It is RDJ standing there. And boom, I have a visual. I have a theory and I have thoughts on how this will lead to the events for Doomsday. But then it dawns on me, I now owe you a Galactus popcorn bucket for the sum of $80. So, Jax, congratulations on the bet. What you can give your victory speech now, then we'll talk about the post credit.
Yeah, I thank you, Doc. Obviously, I'm gonna enjoy that. That's gonna go right up on the wall over there on the mantle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was bittersweet for you. It was a double win for me. I was just like, we got Doom. Oh wait, I'm also getting a Galactus popcorn bucket. I was in euphoria.
Flex, your thoughts on the post credit now that we've gotten through that. And the listeners who don't know, I made a bet with Jax. If you listen to the last episode, it wasn't part of the bold predictions, but it was something we were very, I guess, contentious about. I said that we were going to see Dr. Doom and see RDJ's face in the post credit. Jax said, no, we're just getting the mask. And I was devastated. Flex, you were there when that happened.
Yeah. So we were together as a family. Parents were there. Miss Flex was there. We were there. And we all knew before the movie, Doc was telling them, I have this bet going into this movie. Like, I'm a little nervous, but he was confident. And we all were like, oh, you owe him a Galactus popcorn bucket right away. We weren't even talking about the post-credit scene. We were talking like, oh man, where are you going to find one of those? They don't sell them right here at this AMC. So that will be another journey for Doc to kind of explore. But to the actual post-credit scene, they actually they did more than like like a Thanos, like, fine, I'll do it myself. They actually like kind of gave a little bit of plot teasing with Franklin. And I think for me, my immediate reaction was actually, oh no. But hear me out, because they just used Franklin as this, like, hey, this is like kind of the key, the plot of this movie. Are they going to do the same thing in Doomsday? Right. And for me, like doing that 2 out of your last 3 movies for the MCU and with the same core characters, that just seems kind of too similar to me. But I do think they'll figure out a way with a huge ensemble cast with more than just a Fantastic Four and maybe a Doom Reed type of rivalry. I don't know. Again, I don't know if they're going to be former classmates or not. The RDJ element just leaves everything open, to be honest. I think they'll clearly try to throw something in our plans to make it a little different. So at first, my instant reaction was, oh no. But now, like letting things simmer, I'm more optimistic around it.
So you were thinking that, okay, we just had a movie where they were trying to take Franklin Richards from the Fantastic Four, and then we have a post-credit where Dr. Doom is presumptively trying to take away Franklin Richards from the Fantastic Four and Sue Storm specifically.
Precisely.
So that is also what went through my mind, but for me, I was just so jacked that we finally got Doom. And we had been predicting, Jax is talking about Thunderbolts post-credit, and then we're talking about how it hasn't been really, I guess, planted, this idea that Doom is going to be the big bad in previous MCU films, Phase 4 and 5. And finally we get him. And to have it confirmed that that was RDJ, that's exciting, even though he didn't show his face. It makes you know how valuable Franklin Richards is. And this is where I was thinking about Secret Wars. Will they simplify Secret Wars? And in Secret Wars, Battle World is conceived of when you have Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange, and Molecule Man. So it's like those three, and they take the power of the Beyonders, and then they create Battle World. Are they just going to simplify it because those characters just aren't established? When I'm talking about Molecule Man, he's not really established. He has never existed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Are they just going to take the powers of Franklin Richards, Doctor Doom, that is, and create these incursions? Are they attacking the TVA? Will they attack Loki and then create this universe? Because that's the capabilities of a cosmic being like Franklin Richards. And will they kind of like dumb it down for us, Jax? That's kind of what went through my mind exactly when we saw it.
Yeah. So I got thoughts. I have many thoughts. First off, Doom, we're back. You guys get it. Fantastic. I obviously was very happy. Now, what I think is going to happen, right? We're not going to get Molecule Man. I do not think we're going to get him because, like you just said, Doc, we don't know who he is or where he is. And the thought with Molecule Man is essentially right there is one Molecule Man in every single multiverse. And that's how they're able to use his power and everything to get the Beyonders power. So we're not going to get that. What I do think is going to happen is the thought or what happened in Deadpool and Wolverine with anchor beings. I think it's going to be something more along the lines of that. Now, Franklin Richards, I do think is going to be used to start the incursions or something. He's going to have something to do with that. But yeah, I think it's more so it's going to be maybe something to do with Franklin Richards starting the incursions, or maybe he's able to kind of travel the multiverse, kind of like America Chavez or something along those lines, where Doctor Doom is going, steals him, is going to different multiverses, killing anchor beings, starting these incursions, creating Secret Wars. I think it's going to be something more along the lines of that. Again, just because we don't have Molecule Man. And they're not, I don't think they're just going to be like, oh yeah, there was this guy on every universe. We just never showed you guys. And here he is. And now we have Battle World.
Ooh, this is a good call from you. Because
Yeah.
Molecule Man, like you're right, there's a piece of him in every universe in Secret Wars. Just like what do we have now instead of Molecule Man? The anchor beings.
Mhm.
And is it the anchor beings that are being, collected maybe, by Doctor Doom? And by maybe Franklin Richards helping him out or being forced to help him out. That's interesting. I think that is the solution. That's a good call, Jax. And that's where I'm looking for what are the separations from the graphic novel and the comic book run compared to what we're going to see in the MCU. And are they going what variations are they going to make? I think the anchor beings for Molecule Man is the move. That's a good call. I also need to talk about now that we have this post credit. We also had the Thunderbolts post credit. That's not really referred to at all in Fantastic Four. And we have this rocket heading towards Earth 616 that has the Fantastic Four logo, but we don't know who's on that ship. Ricky Flex, after seeing this movie, and we have that prediction the Fantastic Four aren't on that ship, what do you think is really going down, right? And is this literally going to be the opening for Doomsday?
I think it is. It's going to be similar to Infinity War, and we'll get some sort of scene in the beginning of Doomsday, probably off this post-credit and whatnot. And then we have a Fantastic Four ship going to the 616. It'll be like Infinity War, where we have Thanos invading like from Ragnarok post-credit, the ship onto, again, Asgardian ship, and then Bruce Banner, Hulk fighting, and then arriving at the 616 saying Thanos is coming. I think we're going to get some sort of revelation like that.
Okay. And I'm curious if Dr. Doom takes Franklin Richards, if that is like truly the start of all of this. He takes Franklin Richards, maybe he takes Sue Storm with him too. And like he has both of them hostage. And it might
there is a storyline of that in the comics.
Yes.
Okay.
Part of Secret Wars, he's like, he takes her, she can't remember before Secret Wars, before Battle World, and like she's kind of like his queen, like to his god Emperor Doom. Like, I think that might be what we're getting.
So I just got to the part in Secret Wars that you had Sue Storm tells a story to Franklin, like a bedtime story, the story of the Fantastic Four, and Sue Storm tells the story that you have the Thing, Johnny, her, instead of Reed Richards, her remembering, it's her dad, who is Franklin Richards, like not the son, but her father. So they wipe her memory. Could something like that happen early on in Doomsday? Because she's taken hostage. You have the sorcerer abilities of, Doctor Doom that have never been explored before. Maybe they show that off early on in Doomsday. But I was also going to say that Rocket could be Ben, Mr. Fantastic, Johnny Storm looking for Franklin and Sue, and they find themselves on the 616. So I was thinking that maybe still not the entire team, but partially this is how you bring those heroes there, because they're on this hunt to track down Franklin and Sue.
Tough for our bold prediction, but okay.
I also have a crazy idea, if you guys want to get nuts. What if that is the Council of Reeds? Because you're reading... No, hear me out. You are reading the Secret Wars comics. The Maker, who is the evil Reed Richards, is a big part of that comic run.
Yes.
And again, we're spitballing here. And again, not Franklin Richards, my apologies. Reed Richards is one of the only ones that remembers, if I remember correctly, what happened before Battle World.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're getting crazy here, it's like him, it's Reed, it's the Hulk, and someone else, if I remember correctly. I can't remember who it is. They remember what happened prior. Everybody else doesn't. So, like, what if that is Reed rounding up other Reeds? They're going to get Dr. Doom. I don't know. We're getting crazy here. Anything could happen.
Well, you brought up the Maker too, which is a very interesting character.
The Maker is sick.
So the Maker is Reed Richards from a different universe, and he's not grounded by his family. So he's very pragmatic, and he'll make decisions as the smartest being in the world. And he doesn't have to like worry about someone holding him back. Like he doesn't have to worry about Sue, Johnny, Ben. Like he is like almost an evil version of Reed Richards. And like in Secret Wars, he's working alongside like Namor and Thanos. Like he has like the most powerful beings that we know, and villains are like taking orders from the Maker. And then they have a regular Reed Richards that is the husband of Sue Storm, who's obviously been brainwashed and is with Dr. Doom. So it's interesting to see the two different Reed Richards talking to each other. It'd be interesting if Pedro Pascal plays a version of the Maker in Secret Wars, especially with the version that we just got in First Steps. Would be fascinating. I kept thinking about also with the characters that we have established in the MCU, like it's not going to be a 1-to-1 with the Hickman version 2015 Secret Wars. Yeah. And what they have in Battle World is that most people's memories are wiped. They explain that, but they have these different kingdoms. Like there's a kingdom. There's like in Doomstat, they're protected by Thors. There's just a bunch of Thors that rule. There's a kingdom of like basically Hulks that they can unleash upon people. And there's different barons, that leaders of land that are similar, like a Game of Thrones or a Westeros. And they have, Mr. Sinister is a leader. He's a baron. You have Madeline Pryor, who is also a baron. Who become those type of characters in Secret Wars is going to be fascinating to see, because you can't just throw in characters we don't know. You're assuming too much from the Marvel audience. Like who gets to have those titles? Who gets to have those, kingdoms? It's going to be fascinating to see. And I don't know about you guys. I am a believer in what the Russos are doing. And people are hating on it just because you have RDJ as Dr. Doom. But these guys said the only way they would come back to Marvel is they got to do Secret Wars. There's people are saying the script's not done. This, that. These guys have known that they wanted to do Secret Wars at least since they started doing Infinity War. Like they had been asked about it. They had said they want to do it. They're taking a break from Marvel for now. They come back. These are the only guys that could execute Secret Wars. I think it's all going to come together. I think it's going to work, Flex.
No, Jack, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can't doubt them. They're what? 4 for 4? You got Winter Soldier, Civil War, Endgame, and Infinity War. Like, no reason to doubt them.
They've proved it. They've showed it. They've talked the talk. They've walked the walk. Like they have to do something wrong in the MCU to doubt them, I think. Mm-hmm. So even though it does look bad, the PR looks bad on this. Like Rebecca Romaine this week saying in an interview, like with a bunch of people, like, yeah, like I think I'm shooting more scenes, but the script's not even done. and they've been working on this for a couple months. It's not a good look, and she's not the only one. Sebastian Stan's saying it. A bunch of people are saying it, so it's not a good look. They definitely probably should have ironed out the script beforehand, like James Gunn DC is doing. So it's not very good when James Gunn's getting things right over at DC like that. But point is, like Jack says, you can't really doubt them until they do us wrong. And I think if Doomsday doesn't come correct, then we could start doubting about Secret Wars, right? Then we will start doubting about Secret Wars. But right now, I still feel pretty good. I still feel good. I am a little nervous, Doc, what you were saying about like who's going to get what for Secret Wars, because there's just so many vital characters that aren't in the MCU picture right now. And I know same thing with the Infinity War. Very similar, Sentry and whatnot. Those major characters weren't in it. But the problem is we had 10 years to build up to that. Here, it feels like we haven't really had that much build up for essential characters in Secret Wars, and that is kind of a problem. So I think, again, they've proved it. I still have faith in them. But to say that's not in the back of my mind would be incorrect.
The huge thing is how the character interpretations, who gets what, it's all going to come down to how they explain how the guy who looks just like Tony Stark is Victor Von Doom. Like, are you going to, a lot of people are doubting it. A lot of people are skeptical that they're going to be able to pull it off. Can you make it work? That's the biggest thing that you have to do here. Is it more than just a play to make sure you have the MCU back? You have RDJ back. Is there something that you can do where it's going to say, this was the right move all along? You have a lot to do to convince those people. That's how it works. But I have faith. I have faith